Check it out, just take a chance. It's time for celery pants. All right, so today I am going to finish installing the parts that I had to fabricate so that the fenders would fit on the bike. Remember I had to get some new wheels for the bike because couldn't find coaster brake wheels that worked with it, so I had to get these steel wheels that were too big. So I had to fabricate something so that they would fit. What I did was I reformed these so that they were wider to accommodate the wheel, and then I had to make these brackets because that obviously made them shorter so that they would reach now. So I've got the back one done. But I'm gonna show you over here. I'm gonna do the front one today, and I'll take you along and show you how I did it. And then hopefully today too, I have time to touch up the primer, get these parts primed, and then there's a couple areas, because I had to take this on and off and on and off, get that reprimed. So that's the plan for today. So let's make it happen. So here are our parts that we need. So the first thing that I need to do is remind myself how these things went together. I'm gonna go back to my video and check it out. I'm gonna try to get you guys closer so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just putting the screw in to put these two together to kind of test fit with the wheel so I can see what my clearances are. All right, can you see? Yes, you can see. Clearly, we're making contact back here. So my question is, if I raised this up, would I still be making contact? Should I raise up the fender? I think I might, and I have to do the same thing to this one that I did to the other ones. I have to bend these out and make a bracket. Let me try to just modify this first and see if that fixes it, and if not, obviously we'll do the other part. So let's do that first. So the easiest way I think I'm gonna use to fix this, I'm gonna take these calipers here. I'm gonna measure the distance between the center of the hole and what would be flush with the bottom of this piece of metal here. So center of the hole to the bottom there. And then here I'm gonna measure where I would contact, where that would contact here, and I'm going to measure up 1 inch, and that's where I'm going to drill my new hole. So let's go do that. So these calipers, as you can see, have two sides to them. They have this side and they have this side. This is measuring an inside diameter and this is an outside diameter. So in this case, this is going to help us more. It's already locked on to 1 centimeter, and so I'm going to mark right where this guy is attached there. And that's where I'm gonna put my hole. All right, so I ran into a problem, which isn't really a problem. I mean, it's a problem, but this is just the nature of fabricating stuff. So that distance puts the center of the hole right about here. And as you can see, based on the diameter of this hole, there wouldn't be enough material left between them. It's just gonna be breaking into that hole. So I can't do that. So I have to come up with another plan. So the other plan is, this is where the fender mounts on the frame right now. You can see there's the hole. I'm gonna make it flush and just put a new hole through the frame right there. This hole is a lot smaller, so I'll have the room to make this new hole up here. So that's what we're gonna do. Drill another hole, but we're just doing it in the other part now. Okay, so the holes on here were gonna be too close together too. But I noticed, maybe if you look back in the footage, there was a little bend in this thing. So I just used, I don't have an anvil. I should have an anvil, but I don't. So what did I do? I took 2 hammers and then I smashed it between 2 hammers to make it flat, and then I used my vice grips to crimp it out, which gave me a little bit more distance. So now I have a mark that's a little higher up. I think I have plenty of room now to drill. This is obviously thick steel, so I'm gonna hope for the best, but this is what I came up with, so let's do it. And remember, all this is really for learning. This isn't about the end product. Right now, this is just me practicing. I gotta keep telling myself that, so that's what I'm doing. Let's practice. All right, so this is what we got. This is why it's important to go slow and think about things before you go. This is a threaded hole. Now, that's not a big deal. If you have a tap and die set, you can, that's how you basically like make a screw or make the hole that a screw goes into. You know how you like twist it in and it stays in place. It's not just a simple drill a hole through it. You gotta put threads in it. So this one's threaded. I don't have a tap and die set. I used to, but I don't, apparently. So now I can't do this either. But straightening this out made it longer. So now I think I may have just enough room to actually try to drill this other hole. And then the other thing is, this hole size is oversized. It doesn't have to be that big. It only has to be the diameter of the screw, including its threads. So I'm gonna measure that screw to figure out what size hole I need. And then I think I'm gonna just drill a hole in this thing. I'll show you the part where I drill a hole. All right, so again, I can use 3 hands, but I only got 2, so. I'm holding these together in the position. The bottom of this tape is right at the center of the hole, so that's where it is. Now I'm gonna mark this position with the paint marker. This is basically the natural position of how high I can get this thing. This is the bottom where the actual hole is. So I'm gonna mark that with the white paint marker. So right there. So that's where I want to put my hole. So I'm gonna get my calipers out. It's always good to put all your stuff away. I thought I was gonna drill. You don't want to drill around, you know, your calipers and things are kind of a little bit fragile. So we're gonna measure the diameter of this screw here. So that's what we're getting. So that's what size our hole needs to be. Make sure it moves in and out. You don't want space between it, but you want it to be able to make sure you're getting the actual full diameter and not just a narrower spot. So we're gonna check our drill bits and we're gonna find one that's at least that big. So here's our piece. If I drill this hole, it'll be close, but can you see that at all? I don't know how to hold this so that you can see. You know what, just to be safe, because I don't want to punch through, so it's hard to show you. Anyway, it's kind of like that. I think I'm going to use the smaller one first and check if it's not harder to drill a bigger hole. It's just another step. And I'm gonna make, you know, trying to cut corners or whatever, trying to make it faster. If I punch through, that would make a huge problem. So I'm gonna start with the smaller drill bit and we'll check if that fits. First, let me show you the automatic center punch. So let's go to a better spot on the workbench here. So it's just like this spring-loaded device. And you just go into the center, midline, sorry. It'd help if I was actually left-handed. You go into the midline here where you want the hole. Make sure you're lined up. And then you just push down on it like this. And it just kind of, spring comes and basically makes this thing impact it. Maybe it's similar to like a firing pin in a gun if you're familiar with that. But anyway, I usually do it a couple times. And then, I don't know if you can see, it puts a little divot there that the center of the drill bit will go into. You can also just use like a punch tool and hit it with a hammer or something like that. But let's clean up the extra stuff here so we can actually drill this hole now. All right, I got you in a little bit of a precarious position here, but I wanted to try to get you lined up so you can see something. When you drill metal, you got to make sure you use a lubricant. They have special metal cutting fluid, but you can also just use WD-40. Make sure your drill's going the right way. Find that spot that we punched a hole in. Make sure your drill is vertical now. Okay. All right, we did it. Two things. One, the reason that there's a piece of wood here is I have something to drill into, because obviously it's going to go through the metal and I'm not going to be able to stop it instantly. So that's like kind of like a safety zone, something that I can drill holes in. It's not a big deal. Number two, when you drill into metal, it's going to have some torque on it. I knew that this was just like a small hole in a thin piece of metal and I'd just be able to hold it. Normally though, you would want to use some sort of clamp to hold it down really good before you drill a hole. So anyway, we're done with that part. Let's clean it up and see how it fits. All right, first we're going to do the screw test. These aren't actual tests, I'm just naming them things. Let's see if the screw actually fits through the hole. I knew it would be tight, but if we can use the screwdriver to get it through, that's good enough. Because I like this hole because it gives us lots of clearance. So you can't see anything, sorry. So with the screwdriver, I can definitely get the screw through the hole, so that's good. All right, next test. Let's see if we can actually screw the fender onto the fork. Okay, so that worked. That's good. Now, let's throw the wheel on here and see what we're working with, see what other adjustments we'll have to make. It spins just fine, it's not rubbing. But if I try to push this side in, then it rubs on the left side there. So I think I'm gonna have to make those brackets like you did on the other side, which is good for you because you'll get to see how I did it. So let's make some brackets. All right, since I don't have the screws, I'm gonna just go directly to the axle. And so I need to mark myself off a piece that's 2 inches long by 1 inch long. It's good to use an edge that I already know is straight. So it needs to be 2 inches between the holes actually, so it should be a little longer. Let me go 2.5 inches. These aren't precise measurements yet. I'm gonna do that part later. So this is 2.5. And I gotta come in 1 inch. That's right there. Come in 1 inch here. That's right there. And just go ahead and draw the whole thing. check it. 1 inch, 1 inch, 2.5, 2.5, okay. Actually, I need 2, so let me just draw out the other one real quick. All right, now let's move this out of the way so it doesn't get broken. I'm gonna cut it out with my aviation shears. So these are, they have all the different kinds. These are the short-nosed ones, they call them bulldog. They can be middle or longer, and then they have left-sided ones, right-sided ones, and curved ones. These are just straight ones, obviously. So, just gonna cut this out. Should put on leather gloves when I'm working on sheet metal. All right, I had to start the video with my nose because I'm wearing gloves now. So, just gonna cut this out. Move this, it's not a hazard. Now just cut these two, make them separate. Now, I'm doing it this way because these are the tools I have. The best way to fix the problem for the bike would be to weld an extension onto the existing part. I don't have that, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm being creative here. I'm gonna hammer these on the concrete because they don't have an anvil, and that's to just make them more flat, and it kind of like flattens out the edges a little bit, makes them easier to work with so you're not cutting yourself. Okay, that's that. Now we're gonna size these up to put the holes in them. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the piece on here kind of like we want it. Hold it in place. And I'm gonna go mark the back side where the hole is. It's that one. We'll call it, we'll label it just in case. We'll say right side. And then we don't wanna assume these are the same. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Good. All right, same thing. The left side. All right, let's go back to the workbench. And I'm just gonna do my center hole punch thing. Automatic center punch. All right, we got that marked. Let's mark this one. Okay, marked. Now, you know what, I changed my mind. I'm gonna press and just drill all the holes at the same time because these things are either gonna fit or they're not gonna fit. And if they don't fit, I'm gonna have to just make new ones. So this is the size of the axle that I'm trying to fit it through. So that's actually too small. So I'm gonna have to go with this one. Yeah, that will work. Sorry, this guy. So this is 3/8. So I have to drill a 3/8 inch hole here and leave myself enough room. So let me go ahead and do the center punch for that hole, and then, like I said, we'll drill them all at the same time. All right, and so this is how I'm attaching the piece I'm fabricating to the axle. I'm using rivets, and so this hole only has to be the diameter of this, which is 3/16 of an inch. So one hole is 3/8, that's the one that's going to the axle. The other hole is 3/16. So I'm gonna get those drill bits out, and then you can't just drill a big hole through metal. It either won't work, or you'll rip the hole and it'll make it all messed up. You need to step it. So I'm gonna use a bunch of different drill bits to just start small and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna start drilling the hole now. All right, so I'm all set up. I'm definitely using clamps this time. I'm gonna start with the smaller hole. So I went ahead and hid the bigger drill bit from myself so I don't make a mistake and drill that one out. But I'm starting with these tiny drill bits. Like I said, I'm gonna step up a couple times to get to the size that I want. Okay, change that out, go up a step. Plenty of lubricant. That's all you need. All right, this is the final size now for this hole. There we go. That's all we need. So that's the smaller of the two holes. And now I think I will do the smaller of the two holes on this one. So I'm doing the same thing, and then I'll do the big hole. Look, I paused because I got a friend. I think this is a mayfly. Some people see them and freak out. They think, oh my gosh, it's a giant mosquito. But they're called mayflies. They're totally harmless. Anyway, back to drilling some holes. I like to keep things cleaned up as I go. Keeps it organized, less likely to make a mistake or something. But I got those holes made. Now I'm just gonna trim a little excess off of these and file them so that the sides aren't so sharp. To file them, I'm going to use this. It's a mill file, or some people call it a bastard file. Or a bastard cut mill file. All right, let's use the file. This is just to make this parts, a little safer, so that interacting with the bike in the future, you're not gonna snag yourself on the sheet metal, because if you never work with sheet metal, it's very sharp and unforgiving. It will cut you very quickly. I have numerous scars on my hands that I can show you from working with sheet metal when I was a kid. Well, not like a child, not a baby, but like a teen. So I'm gonna finish filing these down and blither into myself. And then I will check back in with you what I think when I'm getting ready to attach them to the bike. All right, so those are filed down. I'm gonna get ready to attach them. We're gonna use rivets. So this is a rivet gun. It's got all these additional tips on it. And let me see if I can show you. So this one right here is the one we're using. It says 3/16 at the top here, 3/16. So that tells you the diameter of the shaft of the rivet. For this particular rivet gun, that's the biggest one. And that basically means that it'll fit inside here so you can install the rivet. So let us do just that. I'm putting washers on the back side of this rivet to make it a little bit bigger diameter than the head of the rivet, just to make sure it seats. And I'm going to put one on the back too. So the washers are going to make a sandwich out of the piece that I'm attaching it to. So we're going to go through this first, then through this, then the washer. I'm going to take our rivet gun and get it started. Once we get it started, we don't really have to hold the back anymore. You just kind of keep cinching it up until it gets pretty tight. Then when it's tight, so it's on there the way we want. Then when it's tight, you give it a final squeeze to cut it off. Final squeeze. Final squeeze. Nope. Final squeeze. Not yet. Final squeeze. There we go. Now the rivet's on. All right. Let's move it around. Do the same thing on the other side. Got the rivets on. So let's take these nuts off and slide this sucker under. And then we will test and see if it gave us the space we needed or if we have to come up with another idea. All right, let's do the other side. Look at that. This one has installed itself. Okay, just the front here a little bit. Moment of truth. Look at that. No rubbing. It's close on this side. I might kind of twist it around a little bit to give it a little bit more space, but I think we did it. We made our clearance. Just had to make these little brackets, so. All right, now I'm gonna, like I said, maybe do a little quick adjustment, but we're gonna take the wheels off and we're gonna primer these parts now, and then that'll be it for today. All right, spray some primer. For other spots that I kind of scraped up when I was taking these on and off. Then we'll let it sit. We'll rotisserie it. And then get the other side. And then that'll be it for today. And tomorrow, we can actually paint it. All right, I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'll do the other side. I'll check back in with you. All right, time to primer the other side. The better I do at this, the better the paint will stick. All right, I think that's about it. So I'm just gonna leave that to dry, but that's about it. And then tomorrow we'll do paint. So, as usual, I appreciate you watching. We're getting closer and closer on this thing, and pretty soon we'll have a crazy awesome horse bike. I hope everybody's doing okay. If you're not, like I said, I hope this can distract you for a little bit. But thanks for stopping by. Okay, bye. Okay, sorry. Do.